Hi, all. Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am. How are you, ma'am?
I'm fine, Shivani. How are you?
Yeah,
Right. So we shall just wait for a minute and then we shall get started. Right. Is there anybody for demo class?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
No, ma'am.
Shankar.
Okay. Last week you attended, right? Gauri Shankar, if I'm not wrong.
Listening, no, I think. Reading,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Right. So again, you are here for demo class.
Yeah, for listening, I just want to see.
Okay. Right. Yeah, fine, Gauri Shankar. Okay. So Gopinath, are you a new student or are you repeating the class?
Yes, I'm a new student.
You are a new student. Okay, you joined this week, is it?
Yes, I recently joined.
Okay, right. Noted. Gayatri R, what about you?
Yes, ma'am, a new student.
Okay, right.
Attending a demo class.
Okay, fine. Noted. Okay. So Ram, how about you?
Madam, I am a new student attending demo, madam.
Okay, you are okay, fine. Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
right.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Divya, what about you, Divya? Please connect your audio device. Yeah. Right. Is anybody repeating this module, listening module? I guess Bhakya and then?
Yeah, I am repeating my classes.
Okay, right, Harsha, noted. Okay. So others, I believe Shivani, Srivasavi, Sai Prakash, Phoebe, Nitisha, you're all done with reading and writing task 1 and now you're dealing with listening, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so we shall get started. As we have new students here, I would like to give a brief introduction about Ielts, and then we shall get started with listening module. So as we all know, Ielts stands for International English Language Testing System, and this is to test your English proficiency. We have two types of exams. One is general and the other one is academic. If you want to pursue higher studies, then you can go with academic. And for work and PR purpose, we can go with general. On the whole, we have 4 modules: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. All the 4 modules are same, but there is a slight variation in writing task 1. General students will be writing a letter, whereas academic students will be describing statistical or non-statistical information. And each and every module is for 9 bands. And it's up to you to go with either paper-based test or computer-based test. Okay. I would like to introduce myself. I'm Chitra Arnachalam from English Springs. So everybody, please feel very comfortable. If you have any doubts, you can just stop me there and clarify your doubts then and there. Okay. Yeah. Please don't feel hesitant. Now we shall get started. Listening, as we all know, this is the first module in IELTS examination. The time duration would be 40 to 45 minutes. Okay. Try to have notepad with you. Anyways, this handout will be provided. But apart from this, I might give you some tricks, some strategies and all. So it would be really good enough if you jot them down. Okay. So time duration is 40 to 45 minutes and the band is for 9 bands. So you have to listen to the tape for 30 minutes. And at the end, you'll be given 10 minutes extra time to transfer your answers to the separate answer sheet. Okay. And very importantly, you have to capture all your answers in capital letters. That's very important. And always make it as a practice. And you must not repeat anything from the question booklet. It's very important. Don't repeat anything from the question booklet indirectly or directly. And always you have to capture the answers in the right sequence. Accuracy is very important and you must be very careful with your spellings as well. If you misspell a word, then that would be marked wrong. So you have to be very careful with that. Then I request everybody to mute your mics, okay? If you have any doubts, you can unmute yourself and ask me. Yeah. So these are the 4 questions that dominates the paper, okay? Gap fillings, matchings, multiple choice questions, and maps. Gap fillings, they will give you a kind of summary or a kind of, a form where you're supposed to fill those gaps, fill those blanks, simple as that. Matchings, a list of options will be provided, followed by the list of questions. What you're supposed to do is you have to match the correct option. Multiple choice questions, these are the predominant type of questions. Okay. Sometimes you may be asked to capture 2 options or sometimes 3, sometimes 4 or 6 even. We have to read the instruction really well. And maps, you'll be provided with a diagram, and that diagram could be a place or a location. What we have to do is we have to label the diagram. That's very important as the speaker navigates. Okay. So these are the major types of questions: gap fillings, multiple choice questions, maps, and matchings. Now, if you see, let's get started with the test. See, the listening test is divided into 4 parts, each part having 10 questions. So overall, you have 40 questions. Okay. For general candidates, if you require band 8, then you have to capture 35 to 36 answers, right? And academic students, if you want to score band 7, you have to capture more than 30 answers, right? And why are they conducting this test? Because they just want to check your ability to understand and how well you comprehend the language. Okay. Now we shall get started with the structure of the test. It's very, very important to know the complete structure of the test. Then only you can be very well prepared beforehand. Okay. So all the tapes, no matter what type of tape you deal with, all the tapes, okay, the tapes that you deal with opens up with some set of instructions which is common for all the listening tests. And that instruction will go on for minimum 1 to 2 minutes. Okay, so I'll be playing that now. You please listen to it, and you will have very good understanding. Like only the same instruction will get repeated in all the tapes. As I told you, we have 4 parts. Parts can be called as sections. Okay, 4 sections or 4 parts. You will have to answer questions 1 to 10. Okay, you will have to answer questions 1 to 10. And in this part, you will hear a conversation between 2 people on general matters. Mostly part 1 and part 2 are based on general matters. Okay, part 3 and part 4 are based on academic matters. So part 1 is all about a conversation between 2 people on general matters, like booking a table at a restaurant or renting an apartment, or some inquiry, some discussion on getting a policy or booking a ticket. And the type of questions that you can anticipate in this part are gap fillings, multiple choice questions, maps. See, before the part begins, the speaker will introduce the part to you. Okay, the speaker will say something about that part and will give you some time to look for questions 1 to 5 or 1 to 6. It depends on the tape. And sometimes they will share an example, but nowadays in recent Ielts tests, the examples are not being shared. Okay, so in the beginning, the speaker will introduce something about the tape, and then they will give you some time to look for the questions. After that, after completing 1 to 5 questions, again, the speaker will give you some time to look for remaining questions. Okay, so you get 2 gappings. So this type of gapping is mandatory in part 1. So first you get the gap to look at the questions 1 to 5, and then remaining questions 6 to 10. So this type of gapping is mandatory in part 1 in any of the listening test. Okay. And after that, once you're done with part 1, you will be given some time to review your answers. Okay, you can just cross-check, you can just recheck your answers. Talking about the pace of the tape, pace is nothing but the speed. The speed of the tape is nominal. You will feel seriously comfortable. You will be able to understand the complete conversation. And definitely, if you're paying complete attention, you will be able to capture all the answers right, for sure. Okay, so this is all about part 1, right? Second one, part 2, they again will introduce a part, and then they will again give you some time to look for all the 10 questions. Only that gapping, that 2 gappings are mandatory in part 1. Okay, in part 2, sometimes you get a break in between, or sometimes they may ask you to look for all the 10 questions. It completely depends on the tape. So here, this part 2 deals with a monologue. Monologue means only one speaker speaks on general matters. Okay, for example, a person could be a guide. He or she may be giving you some information about college life, city life. Okay, and you can expect almost all the type of questions here. Okay, regarding the pace of the tape will increase further as you move on to the next part, but definitely you will be able to understand the information. And finally, as usual, at the end of this part, you'll be given some time to review your answers. Okay, this is all about part 2. Part 1, conversation between 2 people. Part 2, it is all about a monologue on general matters. Part 3 is again going to be a conversation between 2 people. Sometimes it could be between 3 or even 4 on academic matters. Okay. And the conversation can happen between students, student lecturer, or student and administrator. It could be between anybody, right? And here also, all the 10 questions in this part may be heard in one go, or they may give a break depending on the tape. And the questions that you can expect in this part are gap fillings, matchings, or MCQ. So they will give you some time to you before the audio starts and after the part ends. Why? Because in order to review your answer. Talking about the pace of the tape, that will increase further. And there are some chances in which you might miss out capturing the answers. We have to be very careful when we start listening part 3. Okay. This is all about part 3. Moving on to part 4. In part 4, you will be listening to a monologue. Again, part 2 is also a monologue. Part 4 is also a monologue on academic studies. Okay, part 2, it was about general matters, but part 4, it is all about academic studies. So that one speaker, he or she could be an academic lecturer or a researcher or a faculty describing on a particular aspect of study. Yeah. And this is the most challenging part. Why? Because the speed of the tape is quite fluent. The speed of the tape is quite fluent. Sometimes you may not be able to follow the tape and you might miss out few questions as well. And also one other thing is a lot of information will be shared in this part. Okay, so we have to be extremely careful with this. And the type of questions that you can anticipate in this part are gap fillings and multiple choice questions. So for sure, you'll be given some time to go through the questions, or sometimes you get a break in between. Okay, this is all about part 4. Right? So of course, we dealt with all the parts right now. And there are some hurdles, some obstacles. And now I'm going to tell you how you can overcome these obstacles. Okay, that's very important. So please to remember, we have 4 parts, part 1, part 2 based on general matters, part 3, part 4 on academic matters. Okay, we have to be clear with all these things. Right. The first and foremost thing is we need to take advantage of the blank tape. Blank tape is nothing but where you do not hear anything, complete blank, where you do not hear any audio, that is the blank tape. Because during the blank tape only, you can do the groundwork. If you do the groundwork very effectively, then of course, you will be able to capture the right answers. You will come very closer to the right answers. So please make sure that you do the groundwork efficiently, which means you have to really take advantage of this blank tape. Okay. So what is the groundwork all about? What are we supposed to do? During blank tape, we have to read the question and underline the keywords in the question. Okay. And try to predict the answers. Try to guess the examples, whether that blank will have a noun or a verb, or are they going to deal with a time, date, cost, or letters of the alphabet, or any numbers. So try to underline the keywords in the question and try to predict the answers. Okay, this is the first and foremost thing. Second thing, what you have to do is you must not get distracted when the irrelevant information is shared in the tape. Definitely, Ielts, in order to trap you, they just provide a lot of irrelevant information. Okay, we must not get trapped. We must not get distracted. We have to keep focusing on the keyword of the question. That's very important. We have to practice targeted listening. Listen what you want to listen to, or listen on what the speaker will talk about. Predictions are very important. If you do the predictions, you will be completely prepared before the tape plays. Okay. And remember this really well. You will be able to hear the tape only once. It will not be repeated. Okay. And you do not want to understand the complete tape. You need to pay attention when the information related to the keyword is spoken directly or indirectly. So how will you know whether your keywords are spoken or not? You need to read the question beforehand. You need to do the groundwork really well. Then only when you're listening to the tape, you will come to know whether the information related to the keyword are spoken or not. Okay. And in order not to miss out the questions, it's very important to always look for 2 questions at once. Okay, that's very important. And then be very careful with the instructions. Sometimes they may ask you to capture a letter, sometimes a word, sometimes no more than 3 words. We have to be very careful with the instructions. And whenever you deal with multiple choice questions, sometimes they may ask you to capture 2 options. Sometimes they may ask you to capture 3 options. If you're not reading the instruction properly, you will miss out something. So we have to be very careful with the instructions. And try to take running notes if you do not understand any particular part of the tape. And in upcoming sessions, I'll be teaching you very clearly when you can take running notes. Okay. And I must say that running notes, taking running notes is a kind of art. Okay. I'll let you know in upcoming classes. The next information is, see, when the information is shared in the beginning of the tape, I told you, right, same set of instructions will get repeated in all the tapes of the listening module. So we know what the instruction is, right? So what we have to do, we must not waste time in listening to the same instruction. Instead, if you're going with paper-based tests, then it will be so easy for you. You can just turn the question booklet to part 4 and you can try to do the groundwork for part 4. Okay, that you can do it. And you know why we are asking us to focus on part 4 is the most challenging thing, and the time that you get for part 4 will not be sufficient to do the groundwork. So you can make use of this time to do the groundwork for part 4. Okay. And one other thing is, I told you, right, after each part you get some time to review your answers. After part 1 you get some time, after part 2 also, part 3 also. So instead of reviewing your answers during that time, what you can do is you can start preparing, you can start doing the groundwork for the upcoming part. Okay, then you may ask me a question, then when should I review my answers? See, 10 minutes time will be given to you, right, to transfer your answers to the answer sheet. This time will be more than enough for you to transfer your answers. And when you transfer, please carefully check the spellings, the word forms, the plural forms and all. This time would be sufficient for you to review your answers. So when you get the actual reviewing time after each part, please don't review during that time. Make use of this 10 minutes. Okay. And finally, some people would score very less in listening. You have to analyze yourself actually where you stand. So after analyzing, what you can do is, instead of just practicing Ielts listening test papers, we strongly recommend you all to listen to the podcast talk shows or documental programs of native English speakers. So when you keep listening to that, you will be able to, improvise your listening ability as well, right? So start listening to all those podcast documental programs and all. And apart from all these instructions, I would like to give you a few instructions as well. Please pay attention. Number 1, please don't answer very quickly. Okay. Don't answer too quickly. This is one of the major mistakes done by so many students. Okay. As soon as you listen to the tape, please do not come up with the answer. Please listen to the complete information. For that, you must not do partial hearing. Please do not do partial hearing. Listen to complete test. Okay, listen to complete tape. That's very important. Do not do partial hearing. And there is no negative marking at all. So try to attempt all the questions. Try to attempt all the questions. Okay. And of course, you need to be a multitasker. Why? Because you need to read the question, listen for the answer, and jot down the answers. And this multitasking, it would come very easily through practice. And earlier I told you, right, you have to capture all the answers in capital letters. That's very important. And please check the number of words. Why? Because each time the question type changes, number of words for that answer also might change. For example, if you're dealing with matchings, here you are supposed to capture the answers in letters, okay? But if we take gap fillings, we are supposed to capture the answers in words. So it differs. Each time the question type changes, number of words for that answer also might change. So please read the instruction very carefully. Okay. And whenever you have this instruction, no more than 3 words. It's very important to capture the answer along with the articles. Okay. If your answer is only in 2 words, please capture the answer along with the article. And the students who go with paper-based test, please write your answers on the question paper when you are listening to the tape. Okay, at the same time. Extra 10 minutes will be given, right? At that time only, you have to transfer your answers from question paper to the answer sheet. But computer-based test students, you need to feed your answers directly into the computer. 10 minutes time will not be given at the end, but 2 minutes will be given to review your answers. And make sure about the spelling mistakes. As I mentioned, if the word is spelled wrong, it will be marked wrong. Okay. So till this, are the instructions clear with everybody? Do you have any doubts? Are you all able to follow?
Yes, ma'am. Clear, ma'am.
Right. What about others?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Clear.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It's clear.
Right. Okay, great.
Clear.
Yeah. So fine. What are we going to do is we are just going to start with a practice listening test. And everybody, you can drop your answers in the chat box when I ask you to do. Okay. So as of now, you can have a notepad with you and you can start listening to the tape and jot your answers there. When I ask you, you can drop it in the chat box. Please don't unmute yourself and say, but when we discuss, you can unmute yourself and discuss, okay? But when you are trying to share your answers, please do it in the chat box. I would like to give the opportunity to everybody, yeah? And those who are repeating the class, please be a passive listener. But of course, if you have doubts, you can ask that with me, yeah? Right. So practice listening test number 1, section 1, questions 1 to 10, questions 1 to 5, circle the appropriate letter. And in this practice listening test, they have shared an example. Please don't ignore examples, okay? Just try to have a glance at them. Definitely, you will get a cue, a hint from it, okay? So what is the example given here? What has the woman lost? A briefcase, a suitcase, a handbag, a wallet. So here they have marked a briefcase as the answer. So we can try to understand that, right, this test is going to be about briefcase, okay? Right. Now let's do the groundwork. Actually, you have to do the groundwork during the blank tape, but I wanted to show you how we are supposed to do the blank tape. So I'm just doing it right now. What does her briefcase look like? What does her briefcase look like? First is what? We have to read the question. Second thing is we have to underline the keywords. What does her briefcase look like? Okay, so this question is asking about what? The briefcase appearance, right? So, appearance. Please go through all the options. This is how you have to underline the keywords, okay? Please go through all the options. Say the differences. Yeah. Moving on to second question. Which picture shows the distinguishing features? Distinguishing features means, are there any marks or badges in order to identify, in order to recognize her bag? Yeah. So please go through the options. Right. Moving on to third question. What did she have inside her briefcase? What did she have inside her briefcase? Wallet, pens, novel, papers, wallet, pens, novel, papers, pens, and novel. Yeah. Moving on to fourth question. Where was she standing when she lost her briefcase? Where was she standing when she lost her briefcase? Please go through all the options. Fifth one. What time was it when she lost her briefcase? So was it 5:20 or was it 5:25? Was it 5:30 or was it 5 minutes to 6? Okay. Now we shall deal with these questions. Please be ready. And I'll be playing the tape from the beginning. So I want everybody to listen to the same set of instruction. I told you, right? The instructions are common for all the tapes. So now today alone, I'll play that. I want everybody to listen to it and then start capturing the answers.
You will hear a number of different recordings, and you will have to answer questions on what you hear. There will be time for you to read the instructions and questions, and you will have a chance to check your work. All the recordings will be played once only. The test is in 4 sections. Write all your answers in the listening question booklet. At the end of the test, you will be given 10 minutes to transfer your answers to an answer sheet. Now turn to section 1 of your question booklet. Section 1. You will hear a telephone conversation between a woman and a police officer. First, look at questions 1 to 5. For each of the questions, 4 alternatives are given. Decide which of the alternatives, A, B, C, or D, best fits what you hear on the tape and circle the appropriate letter. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time.
I see a few of them started dropping the answers. Still the information has not been shared. It's not been delivered. Please don't drop your answers in the chat box. Everybody listen to the tape. Write your answers in your notepad. When I ask you, you can drop them. Please pay attention to the tape, everybody.
Now listen carefully to the first part of the conversation and answer questions 1 to 5.
Good evening, City Police Station. Can I help you?
Oh, hello. I'd like to report a stolen briefcase, please.
Just a minute and I'll put you through.
Lost property, can I help you?
Oh, yes. I've had my briefcase stolen.
Okay, I'll take some details. Tell me what it looks like, first of all.
Well, it's a soft leather one, you know, not a heavy box type like a man's.
And how does it close?
It's got buckles at the front, 2 of them. They're gold-plated ones.
Fine. Was it locked?
No, I'm afraid not.
Never mind. Any distinguishing features?
Pardon?
Any marks or badges on it that make it stand out?
Only the brand name.
And where's that?
It's on the back, at the bottom in the left-hand corner. It's saggy. Oh, and there's a scratch. It's quite bad, but small. directly above the brand name. I did it recently, putting it on my bike.
Right, got that. So, what did you have inside the briefcase?
Well, all my papers from college. It's so frustrating, but thank goodness for computers. I haven't lost them completely.
Yes, you're lucky.
I had my wallet in my pocket, so I didn't lose that. But there were also my pens, which I got for my birthday, and a novel I was planning to read on the train.
Right. Where exactly did you lose the briefcase?
Well, I couldn't believe it. I was standing on the platform. It was right next to me.
You were holding it?
I'd just put it down on the floor, but I could almost feel it beside me. I was watching for my train because sometimes it comes early, and then next time I looked, my briefcase wasn't there.
And what time was this?
It must have been about 5:20. No, a bit later. I'd say 5:30 because it was just getting crowded and the train normally comes at about 25 to 6.
Please drop your answer for first question alone. Please don't drop all your answers in one go. I will not be able to check your answers just for the first question alone. Those who are attending this class as a demo, you can also try. Okay, that's really good. Everybody got the right answer. Yeah, the answer is A. Can anybody explain? Those who are attending this class for the first time. Alina, please don't start sharing your answers for second one. When I ask you, everybody please drop your answer.
Okay, ma'am. Sorry. Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Yes. Who would like to give explanation for first question? How come A is the answer?
Ma'am, ma'am, can I?
Yeah, sure.
Ma'am, she spoke about her suitcase. It is not metallic and it is look like a lightweighter, like a weather, and it is locked by two buckets, like lockers too.
What plated are they?
It's gold plated.
Exactly. You're right. It's not a box type. It doesn't have two buttons. Actually, this is box type. It has got two buttons. And this is also leather type, but it has got only one buckle, right? So, of course, A is the right answer. Moving on to second question. Please drop your answers, everybody. Yeah. Good. C is the right answer. Some students will get confused between left and right. To your left is left. This is right. Okay, always remember that. So what do they say? Can anybody explain? Saggy is what?
Yeah,
Brand name.
Brand name. And one,
there is a scratch above that.
Beautiful. Yes. So Saggy is the brand name, and it was on the left side of the bag, and there was a scratch above the brand name. Perfect. Moving on to third question. Please drop your answers. Okay. Okay, for this, I got different answers. Some people said A, some people said B, and most of you said D. D is the right answer. Papers, pens, and novel. How come wallet? What did they say about the wallet?
Oh, she had put it in her pocket, but she didn't lose that. In the bag.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So she clearly mentioned about the wallet. Wallet, it was not inside her briefcase. What is the question? What did she have inside her briefcase? Wallet she had in her pocket. So definitely A is not the answer. Papers, pens, and novel. Okay. Right. Moving on to, so for third question, D is the answer. Okay. Fourth question, please drop your answer. Mm-hmm. Right. For this question also, I got different answers. You have to be very particular. You have to notice each and everything what is there in the picture. That's very important whenever you get pictures in the option. Okay. The right answer is D. See, understand the question. Where was she standing when she lost her briefcase? So she said that she was standing on a platform, right? So definitely you can eliminate B and C because she just went into the train. So only A and D, you will have confusion between A and D. Only in these two pictures, she was standing on her platform, on the platform. And where was the briefcase? She said that briefcase was beside her. So even this applies for both these options, B and A and D. And later she said that she was waiting for the train. She was waiting. She was waiting for the train means it is understandable that the train was not there. The train hasn't arrived. So she lost her briefcase when she was waiting for her train. But if you look at option A, the train is here, right? A simple thing, which is very important. So please be very clear enough, very careful enough when you have pictures in the options. Yeah. So she was standing on the platform with a suitcase beside her, and she was waiting for the train, right? The train hasn't arrived. So definitely D is the right answer. Anyways, after completing the fifth question, I'll replay the tape so that you'll be able to understand. Please drop your answer for fifth question. What time was it when she lost her briefcase? Yeah, it was damn clear, right? 5:30. Yeah. Okay. Let me play the tape for third question and fourth question. I want everybody to listen to it again.
So my pens, which I got for my birthday, all my papers from college. It's so frustrating, but thank goodness for computers. I haven't lost them completely.
Yes, you're lucky.
I had my wallet in my pocket, so I didn't lose that. But there were also my pens, which I got for my birthday, and a novel I was planning to read on the train.
Right. Where exactly did you lose the briefcase?
Well, I couldn't believe it. I was standing on the platform. It was right next to me.
You were holding it?
I'd just put it down on the floor, but I could almost feel it beside me. I was watching for my train because sometimes it comes early, and then next time I looked, my briefcase wasn't there.
And what time was this?
It must have been about 5:20. No, a bit later. I'd say 5:30 because it was just getting crowded and the train normally comes at about 25 to 6.
Is that clear with everybody? Fourth and third questions?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Right, great. Now we shall move on to question 6 to 10. This is gap filling type of question. And please read the instruction very carefully. Complete the form, write no more than 3 words for each answer. Here they have given personal details form, name, Mary, what you can expect here. Shall we predict the answers? Just tell me what you can expect here. Mary is first name. Here you can expect?
Last name.
Third name. Yeah, last name. And address, here they have given flat 2. So here you can expect door number. Yeah. And here they have given road. So you can expect road name. Telephone, what you can expect here?
Number.
number, of course. Estimated value of lost item, they have given the pound symbol. So what you can expect here?
Cost.
Cost, an amount. Yeah. Right. I'm going to play the tape. Please capture your answers.
It normally comes at about 25 to 6.
Before they continue their conversation, look at questions 6 to 10.
So here in part 1, you get 2 gappings. I told you, right? 1 to 5, you got a gap in which they gave you some time to look for questions 1 to 5. Now again, a gap to look for questions 6 to 10. So please make use of this gapping to do the groundwork.
As you listen to the rest of the conversation, complete the form by filling in the numbered spaces 6 to 10.
Right, if you'll just give me some personal details.
Yes.
What name is it?
I'm Mary Prescott.
Can you spell that?
Yes, it's Prescott.
And your address?
Flat 2, 41 Fountain Road, Canterbury.
Fountain Road.
Yes, number 41.
And have you got a contact telephone number?
Yes, it's 752239.
752239. Fine. One last question. What would you say the value of your briefcase is?
Including the contents?
Yes. Just a rough estimate is fine.
I'm not sure. Well, the briefcase itself is quite new. I bought it last month for £40. I suppose about £65. The contents are worth about £20 or £25 at least.
That's fine. Well, if you could come down to the station tomorrow, you can sign this form and have a look at what we've got here.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Goodbye.
Yeah. Please drop your answer for 6th question. Everybody try to capture the answers in capital letters. Yes. All your spellings are correct. Gauri Shankar, it is Prescott. Yeah. Right. Prescott. 7th one, please drop your answer for 7th question. Your answer is only Prescott. You must not write Mary Prescott. If you write Mary in the answer sheet, then your marks will get reducted. Please don't repeat anything from the question paper. And the answer for 7th one is only 41. You must not write fountain and all, okay? And don't write like this as well, door number 41. That is also incorrect. Just write 41. Please drop your answer for 8th question. What is the road name? Yes. Please don't write Fountain Road because road is already given. Right, Shivani? So just write only Fountain. Don't repeat anything from the question paper. Next, 9th question. Drop your answer. Very good. 752239. Right. Please drop your answer for 10th question. Yeah. Okay. 90, 65, 105, I got different answers for this. See, what is the value of the briefcase alone? Please to tell me.
40 pounds.
65.
Value of briefcase alone.
40.
40. Exactly. And the content, she was not sure about it. She said 20 or 25. And finally, she just concluded it with 25, right? So 40 plus 25 is equal to 65. So the answer is 65. That's the right answer. It's not 105. It's not 90 as well. Okay, so please don't get confused. And she beautifully inquired him whether she has to include the content as well. And she was unsure about the content's value. So she said 20 or 25, and finally she added this 25 along with briefcase 40. So 40 plus 25 is 65. Right? So most of you captured 65 as the answer. That's really good.
Ma'am, 40
Yes.
we need to write 65 or we have to mention that pounds also? Just
That is
65.
there in the question. Just 65. Just 65.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Just listen to the 10th question alone.
COTT.
And have you got a contact telephone number?
Yeah.
And have you got a contact telephone number?
Yes, it's 752239.
752239. Fine. One last question. What would you say the value of your briefcase is?
Including the contents?
Yes. Just a rough estimate is fine.
I'm not sure. Well, the briefcase itself is quite new. I bought it last month for £40. I suppose about £65. The contents are worth about £20 or £25 at least.
That's fine. Well, if you could come down to the station tomorrow, you can sign this form and have a look at what we've got here.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Goodbye.
Right. I believe you all understood right now, and make sure that you don't repeat anything from the question. That's very important. Capture all your answers in capital letters. Okay. Right. Now we shall move on to section 2. We shall just deal with this alone. So before we get started with this, I would like to tell two things. One is make sure that you read the instruction really, really well. Please spend some time. And number 2, always go with indirect matching. Okay. Everything in IELTS will not give you the direct words. Okay. They will give you indirect words. For example, instead of place, the word place might be there in the paper. Okay. In the question, but when you're listening to this tape, instead of place, they may say locality. They might say area, terrain, province, something like that. So we have to pay complete attention to the tape. Always go with indirect matching. Okay. Right. So here, section 2, questions 11 to 21, questions 11 to 13. Tick the 3 other items which are mentioned in the news headlines. So here they have already ticked 1. Are we supposed to tick 3 or 2?
3, ma'am.
3, exactly. Yeah, because here they have mentioned tick other 3 items. Absolutely. Right. We shall see. News headlines. We shall have a reading. Rivers flood in the north. Don't ignore example, even though it is being ticked. Please read this, because definitely you will be listening to the information related to this. So it is a kind of cue. Okay. Money promised for drought victims. Nurses on strike in Melbourne. Passengers rescued from ship. Passengers rescued from plane. So when you're reading like this, try to underline the keywords as how I'm doing. Bus and train drivers, national strike threat. Teachers demand more pay. New uniform for Qantas staff. National airports under new management. So we're supposed to come up with 3 answers, okay? 3 other items. Now I'm going to play the tape. Please capture your answers.
That is the end of section 1. You now have half a minute to check your answers. Now turn to section 2. Section 2. You are going to hear a news report from an Australian radio program. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 13. Now listen to the news headlines and tick the 3 other items which are mentioned.
This is the 6 o'clock news for Tuesday, the 25th of November. And first, the headlines. The Prime Minister has promised to help the drought-stricken farmers in the northern part of the country who haven't seen rain for nearly 2 years. And in Sydney, a group of school children are successfully rescued from a plane which landed in the sea shortly after takeoff. Transport workers are on strike in Melbourne over a pay claim, and the strike looks set to spread to other states. And on a fashionable note, there's to be a new look for the staff of Qantas, Australia's national airline.
Now you have some...
Please drop your answers. You can drop all the 3 letters separated by commas in any order. Okay. EFH, ECH, AFH, okay. Nitisha, please don't include B, okay, just 3 would do.
Okay, ma'am.
CEH, okay. Right. So these are the different answers I got: EFH, ECH, AFH, CEH. Now let's see one by one. The right answers are E, F, and H. This is the right answer. Okay. Right. Now first let me explain all these things, and then let me just tell you why these answers are incorrect. E, passengers rescued from plane. They did not say passengers. What did they say instead? Students.
Students.
School children.
Students.
Yeah, they said school children. So this is indirect matching. They did not say passengers. Instead, they said school children. Okay, an alternative. And then instead of bus and train drivers, what did they say? Transport drivers. Yeah, transport workers. Indirect matching. Bus and train drivers, they did not say. Instead, they said transport workers. Okay, and finally, H, they said on a fashionable note. On a fashionable note, new uniform for Qantas staff. Qantas is nothing but Australia's national airline. right? And on fashionable itself, fashionable, it's a kind of cue, a kind of hint. Okay. Now, let me just tell you why few people captured C as the answer. Why? Because in the tape, they said Melbourne, right? So actually, in order to trick us, in order to trap us, what did they do in the tape? They said transport workers were on national strike thread in Melbourne. So as soon as we listen to the word Melbourne, what we automatically do, we just tick the answer C, right? We tick C as the answer. But what they have cleverly done, transport workers were on national strike threat in Melbourne. It's not nurses. They were talking about the transport workers, number one. Okay. And few of them dealt with A as the answer. Why? Because they said north. They are not talking about the reverse flood in the north. They are talking about money promised for drought victims in the north. So again, they have used a word from A item for this B item. Okay. Yeah. Apart from that, all the answers are correct. So C and F, this is how they trick you. So you have to be very careful. A word from one of the sentences, they will use that word in some other sentences in order to trap you. So we have to be very careful. Okay, let me just play the tape. Please notice all these things.
Now listen to the news headlines and tick the 3 other items which are mentioned.
This is the 6 o'clock news for Tuesday, the 25th of November. And first, the headlines. The Prime Minister has promised to help the drought-stricken farmers in the northern part of the country who haven't seen rain for nearly 2 years. And in Sydney, a group of school children are successfully rescued from a plane which landed in the sea shortly after takeoff. Transport workers are on strike in Melbourne over a pay claim, and the strike looks set to spread to other states. And on a fashionable note, there's to be a new look for the staff of Qantas, Australia's national airline.
Now you have some...
Is this clear with everybody now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
ma'am. Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
so we have to be very careful, right? Please
Ma'am,
give
I
importance
just
for...
have a doubt.
Yes,
Ma'am.
Lena? Yeah.
Ma'am, I just doubt. Suppose if I write this, if C, F, and H, is that the complete answer is wrong? If for one thing, if C is wrong, and if I write F and H is right, then the complete thing is wrong?
No, because we... No. Only 1 mark will get deducted. Because F and H are the right answer, so you will get 2 marks for this.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Because here we have questions 11 to 13. For certain questions, maybe for one question, you have to capture 3 different answers. During that time only, we have to be very careful. Even in that, even if you're going wrong with one answer, only that particular mark will get deducted. Okay? Right. So that's it. We are done with today's session. Were you all able to follow the class? Do you have any doubts? Is that clear with everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Right?
Thank
So
you.
make sure everybody practice, and tomorrow we'll be starting with matchings. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Fine. Thank you all. Have a great
Thank you, ma'am.
night. Yeah.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Bye-bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Good.